Welcome to the 508 Power Hour, a fantasy football podcast like no other. And here are your hosts, Fran Baldino and Dave Preventure.
Wednesday, December 2nd, episode 13. Fran, lucky number 13, we've made it. We're all the way here. The longest week of NFL football finally ended today, and boy, what a stinker that was.
Oh yeah, that game sucked. Dave, it's already December.
I mean, Santa Claus, for those that you believe in it, Shane, I mean, you're a bum, but 23 days Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yeah, 23 days. Those advent calendars are started, kids eating those chocolates, so.
Well, I personally celebrate Hanukkah, so I don't know what an advent calendar is.
Dave,
nor do I know what Santa Claus is,
Dave,
but I've just heard the myth.
If we're talking about Christmas, we want to talk about presents. The Washington Wizards just got a huge present if you're a Wizards fan.
I mean, is it a present or is it just a lump of coal?
Yeah, Let's
see. Let's be real. I mean, Russell Westbrook is being dealt to Washington for John Wall and a first.
Yeah, so that's crazy. I mean, that's the NBA this week, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Bradley Beal, not a happy camper probably. I mean, anyone in Washington, I wouldn't really be too happy. Russell Westbrook, ball-dominant guard, very bad at shooting, yet shoots a lot. Bradley Beal should be the guy in Washington getting the most shots. That won't happen. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's...
James Harden's still going to go to the strip clubs. It doesn't matter what anyone... I mean, him and John Wall are probably going to... Actually, you know what? John Wall with the Dougie and the strip club makes sense. James Harden. Everything's adding up.
Yeah, that might be a fun team over in Houston.
Talk about a fun team. Hey, Doc Rivers' daughter.
Dave, aren't we a football podcast?
Oh, sorry.
Dave, aren't we a football podcast?
We are a fantasy football podcast.
All right, let's just jump into football NFL recap.
Yes, sir.
Turkey Day, Thanksgiving Day. We have the Houston Texans, 41. Detroit Lions finally fired Matt Patricia, 25.
Patricia's last game, finally. And it was a snooze fest.
I mean, snooze fest for most of the game, but...
I mean, for the whole game. I mean, that game, it was... You look 1 second, it was like, 20-20, and then it was 46-20.
Yeah, it was like I was watching golf. It was kind of just on in the background, you know?
100%. So. And, I mean, I don't know. What more can you say than goodbye, Matt Patricia, and thank God he is gone.
There's another farewell in that game. Will Fuller.
Oh, now there's a rumor, not a rumor, the man's on drugs, bro.
He's on drugs?
Drugs. And not just weed or tobacco, which is a drug, folks. Stay off cigarettes. He was on performing-enhancing drugs, which he said, I didn't know about it. Bullshit. Brian Cushing is your strength and conditioning coach. He probably put the needle in his arm and fed him those drugs himself.
I mean, that's Houston for you.
And who else went out? Was it Roby?
Yeah, Bradley Roby.
Drugs. I mean, you got drugs going on in Houston, so I don't know. Houston cheating, baseball.
Yeah.
Houston drugs, football.
Yeah, there's...
Sounds like fun in Houston, let me tell you that.
They're doing whatever they can to get the upper hand, and, I mean, it always bites you in the ass.
Imagine doing peds and sucking.
Yeah. Because,
I mean, that's just... I mean, Will Fuller had a good year, but didn't help your team win.
I wonder if they're going to get a trash can now, and it's going to tell the defense when a pass is coming.
Well,
maybe that's the only way their defense can defend a pass now.
Red Sox did it too, can't say much.
Yeah.
Well, not that, but they did some weird shit.
Yeah. Dave, the Washington football team, 41, Dallas Cowboys, 16.
I mean, say what you want about Andy Dalton. That game was also a snooze fest. Mm-hmm. But I think the biggest thing coming out of Dallas Cowboys this week was Jerry Jones basically saying, so Jerry Jones said Denver having to start a wide receiver practice squad as a quarterback, he said, well, that's basically what we had to do with Ben DiNucci.
Mm-hmm.
DiNucci, they destroyed him, they buried him, they killed him. I mean, if you're sitting back, you're the pizza maker, DiNucci, and you're just like, what the hell? I just burnt it. Like, he's done. He'll never get a job in the NFL again.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, that's Jerry Jones, though. That guy has no sympathy for anyone.
I mean, he's a rich man. What can you do?
Yeah, Dave, let's jump over to Sunday. Buffalo Bills jump out. They're now 8-3. Mm-hmm. Bills 27. Chargers 17.
Yeah, Anthony Lynn deserves to be fired.
Yeah?
Just fired.
Yeah,
that's it. He's a family man, probably. Nothing else. Fired and probably ran over because he sucks, dude. He honestly makes the dumbest decisions as a head football coach other than the guys that have been fired. He's next. Obviously, we've seen Adam Gase is going to stick around until they fire him at the end of the season. And then it just makes zero sense to, what was it? I think you're down. You can make it a one-score game, yet you go for it on like 4th and 3 or 4 or something completely stupid. Anthony Lynn, his job needs to go.
Yeah, I mean, and then they tried running the ball on the 4-yard line at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So that wasted about 40 seconds.
Makes zero sense.
That's the Chargers. That's why they're 3-8. The Cleveland Browns, 27. The Jacksonville Jaguars, 25.
What is the Cleveland Browns record?
The Cleveland Browns, you might not believe this, Steve. They're 8-3.
No way.
8-3 Cleveland Browns.
One more win. That's a winning record.
Baker
Guaranteed.
Mayfield has a winning record in the NFL.
And he threw 2, and Jarvis Landry looked like he was back.
Yeah, Landry looked great. Jacksonville stuck with him. I mean, Mike Glennon is elite. So
I mean, he almost had that 2-point conversion at the end, but
if only the Bears paid their quarterbacks and got somebody like Mike Glennon.
I mean, the best Bear quarterback of all time, Jay Cutler. He got paid.
Yes, absolutely. Dave, this one's gonna hurt you. Tennessee 45, Indianapolis 26. Derrick Henry is a man beast, absolute man beast.
I mean, Colts are injured. What do you want?
Yeah.
Prayers out. Rigoberto Sanchez just got a cancerous tumor removed today. Thoughts are with you, buddy. Bleed blue.
Giants 19, Bengals 17.
Also, Stinkfest. What are you gonna do? The Giants control their own destiny.
Yeah, they lead the division.
But Daniel Jones looks like he died.
Yeah, that hamstring. He avoided the major hamstring injury.
A guy that relies a lot on, making a play and scrambling, it's going to be tough to see how limited he is coming.
Yeah, honestly, he didn't practice today. So
tough matchup against Seattle, too.
Exactly. But we'll see. I mean, hopefully Jones can get on the field. I mean,
Wayne Gallman had a pretty big day, too, 100-plus yards.
I would say the Bengals they aren't going to be able to do anything right now. I would say with no Joe Burrow, no hope in Cincinnati. Miami 20, New York Jets 3.
Jets are going to jet.
Yep.
And Fitzpatrick's a starter now?
Yeah, Fitzmagic is back.
Poor Tua, but not poor Tua because he sucks. So I don't know. It's just like, what were we doing there for 2 weeks?
Is Fitzpatrick starting this week?
I honestly don't know.
I say yeah. If Tua's healthy, I would assume he gets the starting job back. But
I feel like he was healthy. You know what I mean?
Miami sitting at 7-4, coming down the back end of the season. I mean, you're gonna need something, and
you gotta. Patriots are low key on their tail. If they lose a few more games, they play the Patriots one more time. Could get sketchy towards the end for Miami.
Yeah. Speaking about teams that New England is on the tail of, Atlanta 43, Las Vegas 6.
Don't get the reference, but
Raiders. New England is tailing the Raiders.
Oh, yeah, the Raiders are losing games for no
6-5
reason.
Yeah.
And everyone thought the Raiders were a playoff team after beating Kansas City.
What are the Raiders, 9th in the AFC?
I believe so, yeah.
The Pats are 10th, I think, yeah.
But, I mean, the Raiders come out here.
Throw an absolute stinker up against
Atlanta has no Julio Jones.
And Atlanta doesn't have a defense.
Yeah.
And Atlanta won with its non-existence defense. Josh Jacobs fumble, Derek Carr pick, which he doesn't throw a lot of picks. I mean, Las Vegas, this was a must-win game to stay in the playoff race, and they really threw it.
Absolutely. Especially that game right there. It's a must-win game, and they didn't do it.
100%.
Minnesota keeps their playoff hopes alive. They win 28-27 over the Panthers.
They're going to really have to win out. And was it Chad Beebe had a fumble earlier in the game, basically almost cost them the game. Redemption, game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, that's not a good game. Baltimore is the 9th seed. Las Vegas is the 8th seed, and the Patriots are a game behind both of them.
Who is the 6th seed?
The 6 is Miami, 7 is Indianapolis.
Wow.
Yeah, so
you're in the playoffs. Right.
Speaking of the Patriots, they win 20-17 over Arizona.
Fuck the Patriots. Sorry, that was me lashing out. Yeah, good team win. by New England and the refs.
The football gods are just looking out for Nate's well-being.
Yeah, I mean, that's just
trying to keep him.
I think they're just gonna. I think the football gods are just teasing Nate, and then it's gonna be like that Miami game. They're gonna have to win again, and then they're just gonna lose it like they did last year.
Honestly, I'm thinking Belichick is just so smart, like the smartest person in the world. He knows that he sucks at drafting, so he doesn't want the pressure of a high first-round pick. I would say the pressure of his first-round picks is enough
for any spin zone
with great N'Keal Harry and great Sony Michel and
Damien Harris.
Well, I mean, he's had good top 10 picks.
Damien Harris is a hit.
Damien Harris. You want to talk about Damien Harris? I saw something today.
I think we're going.
I saw something today. If people who like football who take a lot of their information from this this publisher, Pro Football Focus has Damien Harris. Guess where Damien Harris is ranked by Pro Football Focus?
Couldn't be one.
Well, I'll give you the top 3. Number 3, Dalvin Cook.
I would say he's like 1.
Number 2, Derrick Henry.
Really?
And
then who's number 1?
Number 1 is Damien frickin' Harris.
Pro Football Focus. I mean, you're obviously listening and watching Pro Football Focus. You guys are stupid. Like, that is just... Use your brain.
Damien Harris's last 4 games, 14 carries, 71 yards against the New York Jets.
Not bad.
22 carries for 121 yards against the Ravens. Let alone he had less than 10 yards in the fourth quarter.
No touchdowns?
No touchdowns. Against Houston, shocking. Houston sucks.
Bad rush defense.
11 carries, 43 yards, 1 touchdown.
Oh, and they lost that game.
Yep, they lost. And this past week, 14 carries for 47 yards.
Didn't Dalvin Cook had more touchdowns in the first half last week than...
No, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry had...
Damien Harris has the
Derrick Henry had a better, half than every single game that Harris has had.
I mean, Pro Football Focus. Jokes. Damien Harris, number 1.
He has 3 games over 100
yards.
I
think Nate's writing for them. Everything makes sense.
3 games over 100, actually over 99 yards, because against the Chiefs he had 100, against the Bills he had 102, and against the Ravens he had 121.
I mean, it's a little exaggerated.
So, I mean, is Damien Harris the best running back in the league?
Yes.
And Belichick's just so smart that he only rushes him 14 times a game?
Yes.
When Derrick Henry averages 23 carries?
Yes.
And Dalvin Cook averages 22 carries?
Yes.
And we have Damien Harris who gets 10 to 15 carries.
See, but you don't get it. You're a classic Patriots hater. You can't see the greatness in all these players.
No, the greatness that I see is Belichick now.
What is Pro Football Focus like? How do they come up with these rankings? Because he had 90-something points.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I have no idea.
And what do they do?
How do I get a point?
Because there's nothing Damien Harris does that is better than Dalvin Cook or Derrick Henry. Literally no part of his game.
Nope.
No.
None.
Nope. Not at all.
Yards per carry? No.
Not
Touchdowns?
even.
No. Yards? No.
Attempts? No.
Losses?
No.
Receptions? No.
Losses, yes.
He does have more losses than both. Minnesota has more.
I think they're... Yeah. Damn. That's why.
Minnesota.
That's probably
Minnesota
why.
has... they're the same record.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, you have Derrick Henry. If you're playing Tennessee, you're worried about Derrick Henry. If you're playing Minnesota,
100%.
you're worried about Dalvin Cook.
If you're playing
the Patriots,
you're
who the
worried
hell are you
about
worried about
Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
That's it.
Who was more valuable to the Patriots this past weekend at the running back position? James White.
James White this week.
James White should be.
How about
if Burkhead the whole year until he got hurt?
Burkhead has been the top running back for the Patriots.
James White, I'm telling you.
Where's he on Pro Football Focus?
Yeah.
Probably I don't even know.
I think Brady wants a reunion with James White down in Tampa.
Imagine.
Because it seems like nobody could catch a ball for him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, though, with the Patriots winning games right now, it's just Belichick. Belichick wants a later pick because it takes a little bit of pressure off.
Belichick's going to get the later pick, and then he's obviously going down to Tampa because Bruce Arians can't get along with Tom Brady. I think the whole issue was just that upper front office with the New England Patriots, not just Belichick.
You think that Belichick would go to Tampa?
Hear me now.
In February, yeah.
Believe me later. Bill Belichick in Tampa Bay next season.
That would be insane.
I thought we were talking about in February.
That would be crazy.
I like that one. Wrong.
That's a hot take, dude.
That's a very hot take. But we've been hearing all these talks about Bruce and Brady not getting along. Mm-hmm. Brady's running that offense. Bruce's offense is pick prone. Belichick's offense is dip and dunk, which Brady loves. It's just one of those crazy things that, I mean, the GOATs get what the GOATs want.
Yeah, we'll see. Back to football. Back to real football and not hypothetical. 49ers 23, Rams 20.
What a shocker.
I can't believe it. The Rams look real, and then they go out and lose to
the Niners.
Nick Mullins.
Yeah, which I'm a big fan of Nick Mullins. I think he's better than Jimmy G for that team.
At times. I would say at times he looks really good, and then at times he looks like a backup quarterback.
But that 49ers defense is getting healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah. The whole team's getting healthy.
And they got Sherman back this week, right?
And they got Deebo Samuel, and Deebo Samuel went off.
Yeah, it's just that Niners team healthy is very dangerous. We saw it last year. I think they just need a better quarterback than Jimmy G.
Yeah.
And obviously,
hurt, or is he just benched?
He's hurt.
Hurt.
He's hurt.
Probably like
air quotes.
Yeah,
he's hurt.
Exactly.
Kyle Trask, watch out. Matt Ryan, watch out. Kyle Shanahan.
I like Matt Ryan to the 49ers. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it could definitely happen. Shanahan gets his guy, and
you know what sucks?
49ers go back to
As a Colts fan, 2 years, it's going to be Carson Wentz on the Colts, and it's just going to suck.
You don't want Brissett?
No, it just, I do, but I just know what's going to happen, and I just can see him in a Colts uniform sucking. It's just...
Carson Wentz.
Dude, we gotta do next week. Let's do a quarterback carousel. Let's predict all 32 quarterbacks.
Well, they're all going to the Patriots.
Who's going to be starting on that team next
all
week?
32 quarterbacks. Let's predict it next week.
Jameis Winston.
With our guest, Mr. Romano.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that, Andrew, if you're listening, take notes. Write it down.
Oh, he's listening.
Yeah.
Oh, he's listening.
He's always listening.
All right,
he ain't fake like Jake Mills or who else doesn't listen?
Nate.
Probably Bryce. I bet you're not watching
He's watching right now.
Bryce?
Fran's biggest fan, 2019 champ.
I know Nate's not watching.
Nate's obviously not watching.
Nice.
Just
whatever.
No.
Smoking butts, working his ass off. What else is new? Saints win 31-3. That was an embarrassing game by the Broncos.
I mean,
that was embarrassing for the NFL.
No shit, Fran. They didn't have a quarterback. What did you expect?
Embarrassing for the
You
NFL.
clearly expected something because little Nugget
off the street and put him in.
Yeah, you started him. And he low key almost fucked you in the end.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna.
A wide receiver, right?
I thought I was gonna
be
pull
like
a Taysom Hill and put him at a position,
tight end,
and I mean, he went -4. But dude, that's
sort of my defense.
He looked like a guy who won a fan contest to play quarterback in the NFL, and he showed everyone who watches football. That quarterback is actually hard.
Everyone, all those couch potatoes that are like, hey, I could just step in there and I could at least complete 1 pass, 2 passes. Bro, this guy played quarterback in college and he could only complete 1.
Mm-hmm. And he threw 2 interceptions.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
like, first team since 1998, St. Louis, or not St. Louis.
Chargers.
Chargers to have more interceptions than completions.
I don't even think I could, get a throw off.
That's what I'm saying.
I'd probably...
Like, dude, even watching today, your average time you have is like 3.3 seconds to get it out.
I would say, what was Big Ben? 3.1?
3, and that's the highest in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, bro, I can't even count to 5. Like,
exactly.
Like, dude, I'm going to get murdered.
To look over these 6'3", 6'5"
I am
linemen.
5'8" on a good day, and I imagine
Yeah.
Cameron Jordan.
You want me to grab the snap or catch the snap,
and
then drop back like 3 steps, and then look for a receiver, and then throw it in 3 seconds.
And Cameron,
I ain't doing
and not you gotta also read the defense.
And mind you, you could be playing bums. You're playing Cameron Jordan, one of the most terrifying defensive ends in the league.
The first snap this kid took at quarterback, they roll him out to the right. He throws about a 12-yard pass out of bounds, just throwing it away, and Cameron Jordan just gives him a welcome to the NFL shove.
Yep.
The kid goes flying 8 yards. Like, dude.
Gotta throw the flag there. I mean.
Like, that kid's shit in his pants already, and then he comes in. I mean, great props to Kendall Hinton.
Mm-hmm.
I hope Denver keeps the dude around, but, like, he can't play quarterback.
No.
Does he get paid a little money for that? He must.
He
gets a game check.
You got the league minimum $35,000.
Yeah, he gets a game check.
Worth it, bro.
$35,000. I mean, I'd take $35,000.
I'd take $35K to get smushed
I
by
might be in the
Cameron Jordan.
hospital, but,
I would totally just take one hit and just be like, all right, give me my check, I'm out.
Fake an injury.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, God.
I mean, I don't think I'd have to fake it, but broken ribs and all.
Yeah.
Dave,
What, Fran?
Kansas City Chiefs played Madden on rookie mode
Yep.
for the first half.
Yes,
Yeah,
they did.
I mean, that was straight Tyreek Hill City, and I thought he was going to break a record, but, I mean...
That first quarter was insane.
What do you have, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns in the first quarter?
In the first quarter. I mean,
he had 169 yards
in the first quarter.
3 touchdowns.
He was eating up a defense that, again, people thought they would be a problem. Tyreek Hill is an ultimate mismatch, and... I mean, you have to game plan for Tyreek Hill. You don't, you see what happens. They did not game plan.
The craziest, I mean, the Chiefs win 27-24, so it was a close game in the end, but that first half was all Kansas City.
100%.
The thing that's crazy with that game, and I was texting you guys about it and watching it, whoever was with me, I was saying it, how the fuck does Tampa Bay put their number one cornerback, Carlton Davis, on an island with Tyreek Hill? Okay. The kid gets beat once. Whatever. Tyreek Hill is going to beat you. Big deal.
You learn from that.
Apparently, Todd Bowles and Bruce Arians don't learn shit because...
That's what I'm saying. Belichick's
dude.
coming down. Belichick game plans for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Carlton Davis is a pretty good young cornerback, but he's not catching Tyreek Hill.
Nobody is.
And, yeah.
Well, the Pats already played him this year, and I'm pretty sure they kept Tyreek in check.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
If you don't game plan for Tyreek Hill, you will see that's what happens. Especially when you have Mahomes, who can literally put it in a bucket from anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. On Sunday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers does what Aaron Rodgers does. 41-25. Chicago put up 25.
Allen Robinson
is good. I mean,
but
you would be shocked how good somebody is when they actually get utilized.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's the only player that Mitch throws to. But the Bears suck, and I mean, their quarterback room's in shambles. They have no clue what's going on.
It's crazy because they were 5-1 at one point.
Yep.
And
the worst 5-1 team ever.
You were saying they were the worst 5-1 team. I thought the Bears were legit, and
I saw right through them.
That offense is just brutal.
That defense must hate their lives, knowing that if they had just somewhat of a competent quarterback and a competent offensive coordinator, / head coach, they could get something done.
Dude, if you hire Matt Nagy, an offensive genius, quarterback guru, how many times do we have to hear those two phrases?
Every time they're on prime time.
No, anytime there's a new head coach hired, oh, he's a quarterback guru.
You know who's an actual guru that's actually made sense? Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
And he's like the only one.
Yeah, he's the only one.
He is like one of the best coaches, and he's very underrated.
Extremely
Nobody
underrated.
talks about him, but he has like the best winning record in the first 2-3 seasons.
Yeah,
as any
extremely
head coach.
underrated.
You know what I think it's more like? I think like Matt Nagy is just not, he's just not head coach material. He's kind of like a Matt Patricia, right? Matt Patricia is not head coach material, but he's a defensive
coordinator.
I mean, Matt Patricia is somebody's sidekick. That's all
you make
Patricia
him
will
a
ever
defensive coordinator. He's
he was a great.
Patricia
was
offensive coordinator. He'll be great, but not a head coach.
Those New England defenses, but again, Belichick has a lot of influence on the defense. He's a defensive-minded coach. So I mean, how much can you take Patricia for what it's worth? And again, Belichick's disciples suck, other than Flores.
Yeah, well.
So we'll see. I mean,
Shiano.
Well, real quick on the Bears, do you think, like they started off 5-1, they were kind of hot. Do you think they decide to stick with Trubisky instead of putting Foles? Do you think it's different at this point?
I think so.
Honestly, at this point,
because that kind of screws up the motor.
I think there's a few games you could have won with Trubisky. I think Trubisky plays way better than he does if you don't just throw him in against the Packers on prime time.
Yeah. They were 5-1 under Trubisky.
I don't think. No, they were 3-0.
No, they were 3-0. Yeah.
I mean,
undefeated.
If you keep him in,
I think you 100% keep him in. And I said that at the time, and they fucked it
up. I don't
up.
think at the time. I think at the time it wasn't a wrong decision.
I think you're
right now. You cannot go back to Foles.
No.
You cannot go back to Nick Foles. The Bears' offseason this year is going to be extremely, extremely interesting. Allen Robinson's a free agent. He's already been pitching
100% gone.
He's been pitching about the contract with Ryan Pace since, I think, middle of last season.
Now, does he get paid, or does he go division rival Green Bay?
Green Bay wanted him before he chose
That's what I'm
Chicago.
saying.
If Green Bay wants him again, I think he's...
Because right now they have Devontae under max. Aaron Jones, I'm pretty sure, is a free agent. or 1 year left on the deal, so he's not on max money yet. Rodgers is like
he just turned 37 today.
Exactly.
Rodgers
Happy birthday, Aaron Rodgers.
Really.
Yeah. So I mean, he's getting old. Packers,
But
Doesn't
is
look
he?
old. Doesn't
He
look
doesn't
old.
look
He's
old,
like a
dude.
Brady.
I mean,
He's
he's
like a
get-
Brady. He's
3,000
just
yards, 33
Yeah.
touchdowns, 2 picks.
yeah. So I
Or
mean,
that man
4
makes it
picks.
look easy.
yeah,
He makes
absolutely.
He is like it's watching Bob Ross paint a picture. It honestly is so soothing to watch him play football.
It's fun.
Him
He's
and
a fun
Mahomes.
quarterback. And
It's
then-
like very, very interesting to watch.
And I mean, the last few years, Robinson sat across the sideline twice a year watching Aaron Rodgers.
beat the
play
shit
his
out of
thing.
him. Not even just beat him, but beat the shit out of the
Yeah.
Bears.
So I mean, I think, like I was saying, I think Robinson's going to get paid.
Mhm.
I think the Packers would fork up a good amount of money for him.
100%. They have the cap too.
I honestly think if you need a wide receiver, Allen Robinson should be number one on your
Mm-hmm.
list for free agent accusations. But the Bears have now Ryan Pace is probably on the hot seat.
Mhm.
Matt Nagy's on the hot seat.
100%. He's gone. I
Your
think
quarterback
he's gone.
room, as you said, is a mess. So do you draft a quarterback?
I think
do
you
you
draft-
look to free agency or trades? Or do
You could
do you keep either one of the guys that are there?
see the problem is it's either all or nothing with the Bears.
Mhm.
If one piece goes, I think you have to totally clean house.
Yes. I want to say
You
Khalil
can't-
Mack is there.
You
can-
cannot just move a head coach and move the offensive coordinator and just force the new ones in on Mitch Trubisky. I
Yeah.
think you have to totally revamp the whole system. Maybe get a guy like Zach Wilson because he's going to be a late pick. He's not going to go top 20 just because he's a BYU quarterback and there's 3 to 4 other guys. But also like Mac Jones.
Yep.
Mac
Jones.
You
Alabama.
he is one of those, although he's playing at Alabama, he reminds me a little bit of a Burrow. Because he was just slinging. Burrow had these weapons too. It wasn't like Burrow
That's like
was
Trask this year,
right.
though.
Burrow wasn't throwing to scrubs, and neither is Mac Jones. But Mac Jones puts up the ball, and he has a long ball.
Yeah.
And he's like that typical, stereotypical quarterback that you might find a gem in.
So I mean, that's one. That's the Bears. I want to see the Bears be good. They haven't been good.
I did too.
Since we
Forte
and
and Alshon Jeffrey, and
they won the division a couple years ago, and
double. I mean that
then
team with the double dink was honestly playing the best football up
Yeah.
until that double dink. They just got very that defense was unbeatable. That offense was humming, and everyone was saying it was going to be Chicago, New England that year.
yeah,
And that would have been a sick Super Bowl.
yeah, definitely better than the. Actually, no, the Eagles. That was the Eagles' year. That was BDN Nation.
Was that or was that was Rams Patriots? I thought.
I thought that was your Foles went because they lost to the Eagles when they had the double dink. The double dink was against Philly.
Right. But I think Philly got in as like a weird.
Speaking of Philly, Dave, Seattle 23, Philly 17.
What a backdoor cover for all of you that don't know. Seattle 6.5 point favorites, I believe. End of the game, they're down. What was it? 15, I think. 16.
23, 23-10.
Yeah, so they're down 13.
No,
Richard
23-9 because they went for
14. Richard Rodgers, unreal Hail Mary. Like if it mattered, it would have been sick, but it doesn't really matter because Seahawks still win. But then they go for 2 because Doug Peterson is basically, come on, give me the name, baseball cheater, bet on everyone. Pete Rose. Doug Peterson's your modern day Pete Rose and just bets on the Eagles covering, and he goes for 2, and he gets it.
Yeah.
And so it was an all-time bad beat, but Philly's gonna Philly.
I want to say that's a DK Metcalf coming out party, but I mean, I feel like that's every week with Metcalf. I mean, he had career highs this week.
I mean, him and Calvin Johnson, you look at those two stats, he is better than Calvin Johnson was through 27 games.
Which is insane.
Which is because Calvin Johnson was Calvin Johnson. I mean,
well, you heard what the Eagles coach told him, right?
Yeah, he was like, "You're the best. You're not.
He's like, I was on.
You ain't no Calvin Johnson, basically. Yeah.
Not him yet.
And then he puts up 10 and 177.
Yeah, exactly,
Like,
he said that.
yeah, he said that
Pre-game.
pregame.
DK
Coach said
Metcalf?
that to him,
Yeah.
Pregame, yep.
You just shot yourself in the face right there. What the hell
came
are
out
you
after
doing?
and said it pissed him off.
Of course it did.
Double doink, 2018 NFC wildcard.
So that was the Rams year then.
Yeah.
That was a Pats
Damn.
Rams. Yeah.
And Chicago Patriots would have been way better than 12-7.
And Dave, to round out NFL recap, we had the Steelers today, 19-14 over Baltimore.
I mean, RG3 tore his hamstring at one point. I literally thought he was just done. But then he came out and sucked. Trace McSorley comes in, 73-yard bomb to Marquise Brown. Defense was doing nothing. I don't really know.
Did you see this safety dive?
The hell was that, dude?
Yeah, I don't
it
think
looked
he
like
saw.
It looked like the Minnesota Miracle.
I don't think he saw.
That's what I'm
Hollywood.
That's what I'm saying. He just like jumped and he grabs him at the last second, 73-yard bomb.
Yeah.
I don't think half the country saw that though, because
No.
they decided to do a 3:40 game on a Wednesday.
And then
the Rockefeller.
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. I mean, I'll take football on an afternoon all day.
Exactly.
Besides, it just felt nice. Like it was like, all right, nothing else on.
Sucked.
It felt like a wild card game. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
wild cards are like 1, 2, 3, like on a Saturday.
Yep.
But yeah, Big Ben almost kind of fucked it up. If James Washington wasn't a beast,
That catch was sick.
James Washington has a catch in traffic where if he doesn't catch that, it's probably picked off, and Ravens are on like the 30. Good chance.
I'm gonna say it right now. The Pittsburgh Steelers will finish the season 16-0.
I think they will too.
Yeah.
But I think they lose in the playoffs before they even get to the AFC
I don't think they'll make.
Championship.
I don't
agree
think they're
with
gonna
that.
go to the Super Bowl.
I
I
don't
don't
think-
think this team can beat Kansas City.
I agree.
But
I think they just had an easy ass schedule.
the best team they've played this year is 7-4. Who is it? Tennessee.
They could. I mean, the Colts
That was a
defense.
close game too, right?
It was. I mean,
They play
good teams win close games.
Well,
That's
yeah,
the thing.
obviously.
So
They play Washington next week, short week, which could present like a little, but that offense can't do enough to beat their offense.
yeah,
And then they play the Colts once, the Browns once, Bills, which that could be a very tough game. But again,
No,
It's
Bengals. They play
Bengals.
Washington, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Colts.
and then Browns, right?
Yep, Browns week 17.
I think they could finish 16-0. I think you have trouble maybe in Buffalo and Indianapolis, just because I mean, two teams looking for playoff, big implications probably in those games.
Mhm.
It's just I've seen a lot from the Steelers that show me a lot of weaknesses.
Yeah,
Bud
they're
Dupree
vulnerable.
possibly tore his ACL today too, which is a huge loss because him and JJ have tied, or not JJ, TJ have tied for the most sacks this year as a duo.
Yep.
Or they are leading it at 17.5.
And they already lost the other linebacker.
Hilton, right?
No.
Not Mike Hilton. He's back.
I'll look it up, but yeah.
It's just I've seen a lot of flaws, and in Kansas City, the only time I saw a flaw was in that Vegas game where they lost. And since then, it's been lights out. Like no doubter, Kansas City's winning this game.
Mhm.
And I just think Kansas City's offense is way, way too good, especially with Tyreek, Travis Kelce. And you have Travis Kelce, basically a wide receiver that lines up in the tight end, and two insane running backs. I just think the Chiefs have what it takes to repeat. And if Mahomes plays like he does like this, and they constantly have cap and roster, it's just going to be the Chiefs are the new Patriots, and I think the Chiefs can do it better than the Patriots did. Just because there was that huge 10-year gap between, was it 10? 02 to 2012. Yeah.
Who's that?
Well,
It was a 10-year gap between the Patriots Super Bowls, right?
no, 08, 07.
Oh, 7.
Well, no, you didn't win that one.
Yeah, but are you talking about like?
I'm talking about winning.
Super Bowl win. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
then
10-year gap.
I thought you were talking about like reaching.
I don't see Mahomes and Andy Reid. I don't see anyone beating. Mahomes is like
I don't see Mahomes winning.
Mahomes. I think he might win more. Brady
No,
Brady
part
is
of it is the
Brady
field.
is very, very good.
You think Andy Reid has the mental capacity to keep it together
100%.
for 20
Brady
years?
had the arm
I
power.
don't think Andy Reid will be there, but I think
Listen,
when Andy
but
Reid
you need
leaves.
it.
Brady had. I think Andy Reid is a good coach.
Yeah, but when Andy Reid leaves, dude.
I don't think he's going to leave anytime soon.
He
But listen,
doesn't have
Brady-
the mental capacity to keep it together like Bill.
Honestly, we're saying 20 years later.
We're taking 20
So
years, dude.
I
That's
say
how long it took
within.
Brady.
I'm saying at least he sticks around for at least while Mahomes gets to 30.
Honestly, Andy Reid right now is
He-
62. So
Mahomes-
he could be there for another 10 years.
He's
Yeah,
at
but
least
you have the
stick.
mental capacity
He's
to
at
keep
least
that
sticking
team
around.
Why would he not?
I think you're just jealous Kansas
No,
City
no,
hearing this.
No, I'm just saying.
I
because,
think
like,
he. I mean,
Andy Reid has a lot of haters, and I really don't.
I don't.
why.
I love the guy, and he's
He was-
a genuine
well,
human.
He's had some mistakes in the past.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, he needs to learn how to call a timeout at the right time. But when
But
you have
he's-
Patrick Mahomes, you don't need to call.
that's what I'm saying. And as good as Brady was, he was never as athletic as Mahomes is, and he was never like Mahomes is one.
But also makes Mahomes vulnerable to get hurt, though.
But Brady also tore his ACL, so I mean, like like
Yes.
Brady's been. I
I'm
just
saying,
think.
like I'm not saying he can't, because I think Mahomes has all the potential.
If
in the
they
world to
keep
be
all
even
those
better. I
weapons,
do.
that is going to be a scary team for the and like
For the next few years.
And especially with today's NFL, where there's so much turnover, and like NFL teams don't give any time for players to develop or grow. So it's just going to constantly be like cycle. Like who's close enough to beating the Chiefs in the foreseeable future? Because Big Ben's gone in 2 years.
Oh.
But just think about it.
I mean, in the AFC, it's a mess.
Is Tannehill going to be
Buffalo?
Baltimore? Right. Buffalo, Baltimore,
like
those. But are they actually going to ever be able to beat Pat Mahomes? Because clearly they can't. You know what I mean? It's like I just think Pat Mahomes is in just a different stratosphere.
Like Pittsburgh or whatever, let's say Buffalo, like they're really good right now. But like I mean, they're still as good as they are right now. They're still really far behind.
And that's what I'm saying.
Devin Bush,
yep. It's just because you see these teams like in the NFL. Look at Carson Wentz 2 years ago. He was the quarterback of the future.
Yeah,
he was the guy. Tears ACL, dead. What are the comments saying?
Sean Hennigan says, Dave, stop.
All right, well, Hennigan used to be a Green Bay fan. Heard you switched it up.
All right,
not my problem. Fake fan.
Let's listen to Sean. Dave, let's take our break here.
All right, Sean.
We'll be back with a couple MVP votes and start them and sit them.
Y'all are going to be pissed in 7 years.
How's it going, Dave?
Oh, Patriots +3. Titans +3. Falcons Wait, Fran, what's up?
Dave, where are you getting all those picks from?
Oh, Fran, hey, I just listened to the best sports gambling podcast on Spotify, 508 Degenerates. It's actually with the 508 Power Hour.
Awesome. Dave, who are the hosts for that?
Oh, actually, me and my friend Bryce. We are the two hosts, and, we just try to steal the money from the bookie. And, I mean, Patriots +3, Titans +3, Falcons +3 all last week. We are stealing money every week. Follow along, listen along at 508 Degenerates and the 508 Power Hour on Spotify.
Hey, you heard the man. Steal your money from the bookie.
Welcome back. We're going to start off with the start and sits of the week to let you get that Week 13 fantasy matchup win. Big implications for playoffs coming up, so I know you guys need these. Yep. Fran, let's start with the quarterbacks.
Dave, I'm going to start Big Ben.
Ooh.
I mean, the thing with Big Ben is he gets Washington, so he gets pretty okay defense.
Short week.
They haven't been bad. It is a short week, but the thing with Roethlisberger right now, if I can find it, let me get it real quick. I would say with Roethlisberger in the past about 4 games, I believe, he's averaging like 34 passes.
That's. I mean, he's got a lot of good wide receivers.
No, he's averaging about 44 passes. My bad.
Yeah.
So he played Baltimore week 8. He threw 32 times.
Mm-hmm.
Since that game, honestly, I don't have the stats of today's game, but he threw against Dallas. Dallas is a very bad team. You would think that they Pittsburgh would be running the ball a lot. Big Ben throws the ball 42 times. Then they go play Cincinnati, another bad team.
Mm-hmm.
You would think they run the ball a lot. Big Ben throws the ball 46 times.
And what's weird is they're up by a score, and it's 3 minutes left. What do you do? Run the ball, right? That's it. Big Ben's still throwing it.
And then...
But he's completing it. It's like that's how they're winning these games, is they're just getting the first downs by little screen passes, little dunk offs, or then you switch it up with a run up the middle. It's just Big Ben has been controlling this Pittsburgh offense.
Honestly, they played Jacksonville. They won 27-3. Big Ben doesn't play that. He doesn't throw the ball a lot there. Nah, I'm just kidding. He threw the ball 46 times. Do you have today's stats?
For Big Ben?
Yes.
36 for 51.
He threw the ball 51 times
266 yards and 1 touchdown.
And that game, game was over in the start of the third quarter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So the volume right there with your quarterback. I mean, you have Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith, Chase Claypool, Eric Ebron. You have 4 legit options, and you're throwing the ball 42, 46, 46, 51.
Yep.
He's just going to air it out.
Yeah.
And that's all you need.
How many catches did Ebron have today? I think
7 for 54.
Yeah. So
7? That's crazy.
I'm going to be sitting Kyler Murray. I mean, Murray played the Pats last week, obviously.
Did really bad. You don't think he's going to have a bounce back?
No, this is why. So he had a pretty bad week. Obviously, Bill Belichick is going to game plan. He does that probably better than the league. Hopkins was shut down against Stephon Gilmore.
Which I was hand up. I was wrong last week. I said it would be Stephon Gilmore's going away party.
Yep.
Hey,
This week they get
I'm a
Sean
man. I
McVay.
admit it.
Sean McVay, another great coach. DeAndre Hopkins draws, I don't know, Jalen Ramsey, the best cornerback in football. And, I mean, that's Murray's game plan. I mean, Murray's not going to be able to do much without Hopkins.
Right. I mean,
And
Christian Kirk, a little good, a little flashy.
Yeah.
He's good for 4 catches, but you can't rely on him for 10 catches a game. And Fitzgerald has to step it up, but again, he's consistent, but he's old now.
He missed last week too.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I'm sitting him. I mean, Hopkins gets Ramsey, and McVay is going to game plan around Kyler.
All right.
I'd say it's the second time they're playing this year too, so they know what's up.
I'm gonna start Ryan Tannehill. He had 21 points last week. And, he's one of those quarterbacks that it's like he's managing. Derrick Henry has 3 rushing touchdowns, so you expect not a lot from him. But he's still, he can run the ball when needed. He gets, he'll run for a good 15, 20 yards, and sometimes he'll get a touchdown rushing. And he also finds A.J. Brown, Corey Davis constantly. And Tannehill has a great matchup this week, so I expect Tennessee to keep rolling. And Derrick Henry with 3 last week. I think they mix it up, get in the air a little bit. And I'm sitting Herbert against New England. New England all-time, Bill Belichick against rookie quarterbacks. It's disgusting. Bill Belichick knows how to get in a rookie's head, and I think he does that here too. Austin Eckler is back. He had a really good day. But again, Herbert against Bill Belichick. I just do not like that matchup for him, and I think it's just a matchup nightmare.
Yeah, that game is going to be fun. So, Dave, what are you doing at running back?
Raheem the Dream. I'm starting him. He came back last week, had a touchdown, was a little limited, but the game plan for him is to get the ball and run as fast as possible. That guy is extremely fast when healthy. Good matchup this week, and I just expect him to keep pouring it on. I think they use him a little bit more with especially Mullins as a quarterback against a pretty I forget who's he's going up. I think not Chicago.
San Francisco.
Yeah, who's San Fran going against?
I'll get it for you.
Just a stat check, going back. Rookie QBs are 0-8 against Bill Belichick.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a great matchup.
You can't. Herbert looks different. He airs it out, but Belichick knows what to do.
The Rams.
Keenan Allen on Gilmore again. That should be JC probably should. I don't know.
Wait, no.
Are they? No, that was
last week. This week they play
Green Bay? Not Green Bay.
Buffalo.
And again, Buffalo's run defense is not crazy good. You saw against, what was it? I think Buffalo and LA faced off. LA just ran the ball all over them and almost came back.
Patriots did as well.
So Raheem, I expect to have a big game here. And I'm sitting Zeke. As much as I love Zeke and I love watching him eat, he has gotten it going besides maybe 1 or 2 games this year. That Washington offense always looks like they're going to be playing from behind. So, the running back's just really unviable there. And Tony Pollard's always hawking some touchdowns from him, which is gross. Fran, what are you doing with running backs?
I'm going to be starting Austin Eckler. It's pretty obvious that everyone's going to start Eckler, but I just want to point out this dude is getting absolutely insane volume this year. When Eckler's healthy, the last 2 games he has gotten, I believe, 11 targets, at least 11 targets in the last 2 games, and he's running the ball 15 times.
100%.
I would say if you're running the ball 14 times a week, and he had 16 targets this week, and in week 3 he had 11. So the last 2 healthy games, he's had over 25 looks. I would say if a guy's getting the ball 25 times, they're gonna produce. And especially a guy like Eckler, you get him the ball. He gets 11 catches for 16 targets.
Yep.
Those screen passes, those swing passes, I would say you get a playmaker like that, the ball in open space, and they're gonna make stuff happen.
100%.
I would say he's been out. It's the Patriots. Patriots are gonna game plan around Herbert and Keenan Allen. So if you shut that down,
Eckler could be wide open all day.
Eckler. The Pats linebackers are so bad. They're so slow. It's going to be tough to match anyone up with Eckler. You put, who's the rookie safety?
Duggar.
You put Duggar's.
Kyler Duggar? Come on.
Is Duggar going to cover Hunter Henry, or is Duggar going to cover Eckler? I expect him on Henry.
Yeah.
And Gilmore, I expect on Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
So,
J.C. Jackson, though, where you have him?
Whoever the other receiver is. It's extremely hard
Michael Williams.
Yeah, Mike Williams.
Bum.
I want to say, but so we'll see. And then I'm going to sit.
Eckler has 22 catches in the last 2 healthy games. So.
Yeah, which is insane.
Trash.
11 and 27 targets.
Yeah.
If you're getting 27 targets out of a freaking running back.
Imagine missing 6 catches. Wouldn't be me. I mean, just saying.
And then also, Antonio Gibson's my sit.
I like it. Tough defense.
He had a huge game on Thanksgiving against
He's had a
Dallas.
few games.
Yeah. And
imagine sitting him in fantasy.
This week he
Well,
gets...
he's a sit this week, so might as well keep it going.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Played into my plan. Tyler has Gibson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he sat him the past 3 weeks.
And then, I mean, so I'm sitting Gibson against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh you saw today.
And everyone's going to be loving Gibson coming off the last 2-3 weeks.
Yep.
Gibson's been great. But
I think Pittsburgh won. Wish they stopped the run a little bit better today.
Mm-hmm.
Again, losing Bud Dupree's huge, so maybe there are some gaps opening up, but I don't see Gibson doing what he did last week.
For wide receivers, I'm going to start Justin Jefferson.
Oh, my God. He's got a sick dance, by the way.
Yeah.
I love that celebration
Grady?
every time, whatever he does. Yeah.
Yep.
What's it called?
Grady or Giddy? Grady. It's Grady.
Cultured Fran.
Yeah. LSU, baby. Justin Jefferson. I mean, he plays Jacksonville. So,
Yeah, Jacksonville can't stop much.
I mean,
Jacksonville keeps it close, though, so it's weird.
Yeah. They have the rookie cornerback who's been pretty good, but, I mean, other than that.
Thielen's coming back, which will take a little bit of volume away from him, but still, he's been producing like a mother.
So, I'm starting him. I'm going to sit Brandon Cooks.
Really? Even though he's going to be basically wide receiver one now?
I would say another guy, I would say, like Antonio Gibson, he's got great reasons to start the guy.
See, one of the things I always think about is when that number 1 guy goes out, sometimes wide receivers are better as that number 2, fantasy-wise, production-wise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look at Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. Robert Woods seems to get a lot more targets than Cooper Kupp has in like first 4 or 5 games. It's just one of those things where, and especially, who was it earlier this year where,
Calvin Ridley?
Yeah, Ridley goes out. Julio goes out. And then you see Ridley really not able to get completely open because he just has all the coverage on him. So it's one of those things where...
And that's exactly what I'm saying here. So I'm sitting Cooks. He's going to draw Xavier Rhodes a lot in this game against Indianapolis.
Who's one of the best cornerbacks.
I would say Rhodes looks like his prime in Minnesota, Xavier. So... I don't like the matchup for Cooks, even though he's going to jump up at wide receiver 1. Everyone's going to be like, oh, shit, I got to start Brandon Cooks.
That Indy defense is going to be playing with the chip, too.
Exactly.
I think they get DeVorce Buckner back, so they really do need to bounce back.
How about you? What are you doing?
Starting Jarvis. Big week last week. I think him and Mayfield finally have the connection down, and he's really the only guy other than Rashard Higgins and Kadarrell Hodge that are there. So I love Jarvis Landry. I loved him in Miami, and the Browns are kind of legit, even though it's a sketchy game this week. I think it's a letdown spot for them against the Titans. But, again, they're going to have to play from behind. They can't really rely on that run with Nick Chubb and Kareem. You're going to have to sling it to your only reliable guy in Jarvis Landry. So I expect a touchdown and maybe triple digits again. And I am sitting Tyler Lockett. We see it time after time. Lockett is just being overshadowed by DK Metcalf. And, I mean, Lockett gets these little passes there for first downs, but Metcalf's really getting the fantasy edge.
Tight ends?
I'm going to try Hayden Hurst again. Did him last week. Didn't really work out because that Atlanta defense seemed to be legit. But he's a red zone target, and Matt Ryan is looking for a revenge game against the Saints this week. I'm sitting Robert Tonyan. 2 touchdowns in 2 weeks. I expect that. Like we were saying before, the hot streak dies. I think he dies off. It's an easy week against... they're -9 against... Not the Giants. Yeah, the Giants, I think.
No, Giants play Seattle. Tonyan, they play... Philly.
Which you'd think Philly's a shithole, but I think Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, it's going to be a tempo game. They're just going to easily win that. Robert Tonyan's going to be more used in the run game. So, sitting him.
I'm going to be starting Mike Gesicki. I like Gesicki lately. Tua is on track to return. So, I mean, Gesicki's numbers with Tua haven't been as great as they are with Fitzpatrick. But, I mean, they're playing Cincinnati. Cincinnati is the worst team against tight ends. and I've been riding that train all year, so I'm going to stay on it.
100%.
And like I said earlier with the Hunter-Henry matchup, I think he's going to get a lot of Kyle Duggar. I'm going to sit Henry.
You like Kyle Duggar?
I hate Kyle Duggar. He's not that good. A lot of people think he's very good. He's not.
So you're going to sit the guy that you're going against someone that you don't think is good?
Yes. I mean, we've seen the way it.
All right.
It's not.
All right.
They're not going to be matched up all game.
Hey,
but we've seen the way Belichick has. Belichick and the Pats have defended the tight end position this year, and I mean Darren Waller had absolutely nothing in that game. Kelsey had a pretty decent game, but it was pretty mediocre for Travis Kelsey.
More second half, too.
I would say it was his worst game all year. So, I mean, I don't think Hunter Henry's really going to be popping off the charts this week.
All right. I respect it.
I got a take from Mr. Romano. He says he's going to defend it next week when he is here. He just said Justin Herbert will be the first rookie quarterback to defeat Bill Belichick. So, hot take from Mr. Romano.
I like it, Romano.
Yeah?
I like hot takes from people not named Fran.
Yeah, Dave.
Very nice.
Real quick, let's talk about the playoff implications in 508 Association.
All right. Give me him, Fran.
All right, you want East or West first?
Give me West because it's not that hard.
Okay, the West. Bryce, straight cash homie.
He's already clinched.
He's sitting at 11-1.
Yep.
Great year for him. Clinched to the 1 seed. Did you win this week?
I did.
Okay, so
135 to 42.
You're sitting at 9-4.
Yep.
Or 9-3.
Yep, get it right.
Clinched the 2 seed. Okay.
Whoa. Yeah.
So
no
we have
way, really?
We have 69ers.
Me?
69ers.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we're not talking.
69ers is sitting at the 3 seed right now.
Okay.
You won this week?
Yep.
Okay. 69ers is 8-4.
0 for my quarterback and -4 for my defense.
Very sketchy.
8-4.
Yep.
They can clinch this 3 seed with a win next week or a loss from myself.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Speaking of myself, I am sitting at 7-5 in the 4 seed. I clinch the playoffs with a win next week or a loss from Sleeper City, which is Haas. If I lose next week and Haas wins, he must outscore me by 39. That is the only way I can get bumped out of the playoffs. If I lose and Haas outscores me by 40.
What an ending to the season that would be for Fran.
I do have this long shot chance. If I win next week, the 69ers lose, we flip-flop.
So you could get the 3.
I would jump to the 3, and they would drop down to the 4.
That would be so...
No matter
that
what
would be,
Sleeper City does?
No matter what Sleeper City does.
That'd be kind of boring, because it would be me and you twice in a row.
Yeah.
But it would also be electric,
it'd be fun,
too.
Yeah.
I just take down Bryce.
Yeah, be fun.
Which would be electric.
It'd be great. He's afraid of that.
I think the funniest shit to happen would be Haas gets in over you, and then he beats Bryce.
Yeah, I would love it.
Because that would be just...
Absolutely love
Who
that.
would Bryce rather play, me, Fran, or Haas?
Or me. Oh, wait, well, he
No,
can't.
You can't play you.
I know Bryce doesn't want to play
Bryce
me.
would rather play Haas.
Yeah.
But who would he rather play between you two?
I would say probably Fran. I mean, I don't know.
I think
Dude, He's been trying to avoid me the last month.
I think all 4 of our teams are pretty evenly matched.
Yeah. He's been trying to avoid me all month.
I think the West is very even.
Dude, when you're sitting there, sitting there as an 11-1 team, you can't be. Oh, I don't want to play that team.
Nah, you gotta. I mean,
you're
it's just
11-1.
It's big brain. You seem more flustered than Bryce.
No, you just can't be a little.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if last year
you're 11-1 for a reason.
Last year, that's what happened to Romano, and if he tanked 1 week, he would still be the 1st seed, and I would not be in playoffs. Yet I clinched the 4th seed in playoffs, got him out 1st round. Yeah, so if he used his brain last year, he probably would have repeated.
He said he'd rather play Fran.
Who? Bryce?
Bryce, yeah.
Over you?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
That's okay. I mean, we'll see. It's gonna happen. So
I scored 106 this week, and I was with .02 for my quarterback and -4 for my defense.
I scored this much with this many injuries. Shut up.
I had
and then if I didn't start,
let's get Mills on here, and he can talk about injuries. You want to talk about injuries? This guy has Saquon Barkley. This guy has Joe Burrow. That's about it. So I mean,
it's
his only 2 worthy players. Both don't have kneecaps and ACLs anymore.
What do we got in the East, Fran?
The East. So. The East is crazy. Okay, this is crazy.
Your brother could be out of the playoffs.
I know.
And I would. I mean, I love fantasy, so I would love to see nothing more than that to happen. Because that's just everything. Everything would have to go bad for that to happen.
Okay, so sitting at the 1 seed right now,
Brian.
is Brian McGinn. Where's his team? He won this week. He
Yeah.
is 9-3.
Mahomes is carrying that team too, which is
He's clinched the playoffs.
Yep.
He's seed 1 or seed 2.
Mm-hmm.
One of the top 2 seed guaranteed.
Now the next 4 people that
Right.
we talked about.
But this is a thing with Brian. If he is the 1 seed, he has to lose and Discount Belichick wins. And he has to be outscored by 135 points. So he's almost 99% locked in the 1 seed.
Yes.
Very long shot that Discount jumps him.
Right.
So Jake got it. Discount Belichick.
He could be the
He
2.
lost this week.
He could be the 2 through the 5.
He lost this week.
Who did he lose
He
this
could be the
week?
1 or 5. He
Who
lost
did he lose
this
to?
week to Hennigan.
Oh wow.
So
That team makes no sense ever either.
Jake could possibly be the 1 seed if McGinn loses, he wins, and he outscores McGinn by 135. Not gonna happen.
Not gonna
No.
happen.
Okay, so he clinches the
Straight up.
playoffs with a win.
Anything.
Clinches the playoffs with a win.
Kevin Garnett.
Yep, has to win this week to be in the playoffs.
Okay.
If he loses, and Morningwood, SJ Knights, or Sweaty Punt lose,
Mm-hmm.
he's still in the playoffs. So he needs to lose, and one of those 3 need to lose
And
to stay in.
their matchups aren't like easy. One's going against Romano, who put up 135 last week, who low-key has a awesome team right now after tanking. So, but he's nowhere near the playoffs.
So if Morningwood, SJ Knights, and Sweaty Punt all win next week, and Jake Discount loses,
He's out,
Sweaty Punt can get in if he outscores him by 2 points.
which is that's when it starts getting
So
crazy.
Jake can lose next week. All 3 of those teams can win, but if he outscores Hennigan by 2 points, he stays in.
That's gonna be a
And if he
sweater.
doesn't, then
He's
he's
out.
out.
He's out.
If he loses next week,
And everyone else wins.
Braden, Hennigan, and Morrow all win, and Hennigan outscores Jake by 2 points, Jake goes from the 2 seed to the 5 and out of the playoffs.
Oh,
See,
wow.
that's what, and he was the 1
Wow.
seed last week.
Yeah. So now we have Morningwood. He's potential seeds 2 to 5. He clinches playoffs with a win. He clinches playoffs if he loses,
Mhm.
and there is a loss to Sweaty Punt, and
So,
Sweaty Punt can outscore him by
And so
175. Not going to happen.
Okay.
real quick, looking back at Jake's path, all 3 of them need to win it for Jake to get bumped down.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, he goes against Shane's team, which
Yeah.
is it's gutted. So, I mean,
Yeah.
so good luck
He had like
to
47
that.
this week.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And then you have Morningwood going against Fitman's team, who scored 42 against me this
42,
week.
Or like 53.
And the biggest matchup next week will be SJ Knights versus Brian. If Brian's smart, he throws this game, he clinches the 1 still because he can't be outscored by 130
But why does he care where Jake falls?
because Jake's team's pretty good.
Mhm.
So I don't think if he doesn't, because he basically is dictating who he plays first round.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I mean, realistically, yeah.
So it's
It all
either,
depends.
and so
Yeah, but if
Jake,
wins, though,
if Morrow
it doesn't
wins,
matter.
this is a very big possibility for, and then Jake's going against Romano.
Yeah. So, I mean, if
It is the toughest look for Jake right now.
if Braden loses and Hennigan loses,
Yep.
Braden's still in.
Yep.
Braden can be the 2 seed if he wins and Discount loses, and he's not outscored by a winning Jake Morrow by
Mhm.
33. So,
Math.
Jake Morrow, potential seed 2 through 5. He
Right.
clinches playoffs with a win. If he loses, he clinches the playoffs by a loss with Hennigan. So
Mhm.
if he loses, Hennigan loses, he's in. If he can be the 2 seed if he wins and Jake loses, but he's not scored. Jake loses and either a loss by Morningwood or a win by Morningwood,
Mhm.
but he can't be outscored by 33.
It's going to be insane.
Yeah. And then Hennigan,
Same thing,
sitting at the
basically.
5, can possibly be a 2 seed.
Mhm.
So he can clinch playoffs with a win. He needs to win, but he needs a loss by either Morningwood or SJ Knights.
Right, and to be totally honest, SJ Knights, that's the only game he's playing Bryant.
Morrow? Okay.
So it's
McGinn.
Morrow versus McGinn, which, like I said, if McGinn wants to pick and choose who he wants to play, he could definitely do that. And Morrow's team right now is the more banged up team, I think.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know. It's all, but then again, you have Wilson. So it's going to be interesting come Sunday because, I mean, the kid that was number 1 last week could be out of the playoffs. And it's not even like one of those like, well, it's like come week 16 in the NFL, it's like Washington wins and Dallas wins and Denver wins, but Kansas City loses, you're in. It's like Morningwood has to beat Fittman's team, which put up 40. Romano can easily beat Jake, who put up 134 last week. Romano did. Yeah. And then it's Shane versus Sean, and Shane's team is injured and dead.
And then Hennigan also has, he can be, if he wins and Discount loses, he has to outscore him by 2 points, and he's in playoffs.
We got to thank Romano, too, for figuring out this pseudoscience and probably being part of, what is it, WODA?
Yeah, he is.
Most likely.
No, he's GODA.
And I've heard he is head of Scientology at Amherst. At least he was before he graduated. Thank God for Romano figuring this out, because now we know what we can look forward to next week.
Hennigan could also win if he loses and Morningwood or SJ Knights lose, but he has to outscore them by about 150 points. So that's a long shot. But that East Division is insane. The West Division's interesting.
The
East is
insane because anything can really happen in that East.
And McGinn's the only one clinched playoffs.
That's what I'm saying.
Honestly, so we have 2, 3, 4, 5. All 4 of those teams can be in or out.
Yep. And Jake's, after listening to this, I think he's starting to sweat.
He's sweating.
Just a little bit.
He's sweating.
So only McGinn in the East clinched?
Yeah.
Yep.
And in the West,
it's out.
Me, Dave, and
it's all of us but Fran,
I would say I'm the only one who hasn't clinched. But yeah. I need to be outscored by a lot.
40, 39. But that's why the East, who we thought was like the shitty division this year.
It's a shitty division.
It is
the top 4 teams are in our division.
But but it's still, it's crazy to watch how that turned out at the end.
Dave, so we're going to talk about MVPs.
Okay.
Obviously, we're not going to talk about quarterbacks because that's
the
boring.
MVP nowadays is just a quarterback award, and I can't stand it. I mean, that's why I play Madden, and I use Nick Chubb only, and I get him 3,000 rushing yards, 600 touchdowns, on rookie, because I want to see a running back win it for once. So I'm going to start off non-fantasy.
Non-quarterbacks.
Okay. Non-fantasy, non-quarterbacks. Starting number 1, these are my personal MVPs. Tyreek Hill. Questionable pass, okay? He's innocent. But this year, 68 receptions, 1,021 yards, 13 touchdowns, leading the league in touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown, too. 14 touchdowns overall. I mean, 269 yards last game. 3 touchdowns, was it?
Yep.
He is part of the reason why this Kansas City Chiefs offense is so good. And the other piece, I also have him in this list. I mean, Kansas City is just producing. It's unreal. Number 2, Dalvin Cook. 1,130 rushing yards this year, 13 rushing touchdowns, 255 reception yards, 25 receptions, 29 receptions. I mean, he is the number 1 running back in fantasy. And not fantasy, in real life. And it sucks that he's on Minnesota because Minnesota's mediocre and their defense is mediocre and Kirk Cousins is mediocre.
Yep.
All that surrounds him is mediocrity. It just sucks to see Dalvin Cook almost not his prime yet, but it might be like an Adrian Peterson situation where we just see his prime get wasted away in a team that'll never win.
Yeah.
Number 3, another Kansas City guy, Travis Kelce, at the tight end. He has lower stats on a few wide receivers this year, but I mean,
he's number 2 in receiving yards.
That's what I'm saying. As a tight end, now number 3 because of DK's game.
Okay.
So he is like 74 receptions, 978 yards, 7 touchdowns. As a tight end, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's literally wide receiver numbers. He is having his best season of his career and possibly the best tight end season maybe of all time. Better than Gronk. I mean, he's 74 receptions already. That's insane. 11 games in. Number 4 wide receiver, Devontae. him and Rodgers' connection, I mean, that's been the Packers' go-to this year, and that's the reason why they're 8-3 right now, or 8-4.
8-3.
74 receptions, 908 yards, 11 touchdowns, and we've seen him get 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdown games like back to back. He is uncoverable too in an open slant and like in the red zone. It's disgusting how fast he is, how big. He's honestly bigger than what he looks, and he's stronger than what he looks like. And finally, your guy, Alvin Kamara. I mean, he has kind of stepped down past 2 weeks. Latavius Murray's almost brought in that team back to life. It's weird. Like
Kamara doesn't mesh well with Taysom Hill.
Right.
No, because Taysom Hill doesn't throw the ball.
Exactly.
He can move. So.
Alvin Kamara this year, 585 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns, 68 receptions, and 640 yards. And I think I have no clue how many touchdowns he has, but still over 1,200. Yeah, over 1,200 all-purpose yards, and most likely, I'm pretty sure it's over 10 touchdowns easily. He is the main reason why that Saints team is good. No Michael Thomas started the year, so Drew Brees only had Kamara, and I think Kamara was like up to week 7 or 8. He was like the number 3 receiver in the league. So it's just
12 total.
12. It's I mean that's my top 5.
That's crazy. He only has 500-something rushing yards.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I thought it would be way more, but still 1,200 all-purpose.
68.
See, I mean, Kamara's good. Kamara's definitely good, but I can't. You got to run the ball with him. Tell me a guy with less than 600 rushing yards through 12 weeks is the number 1 running back in football.
No, that's why Dalvin Cook.
So what do you say? So what do you say about him then?
He's good. He's the top 5, but he's not
top 5. What? Just top 5 player in the league?
Top 5 back.
I think
top 5 option.
Without Alvin Kamara on that Saints team, they're not 9-2.
Alvin Kamara is not Alvin Kamara without Drew Brees.
No, 100%.
And like you can say that about a lot of people.
100%.
Like Tyreek Hill won't be Tyreek Hill without Mahomes.
Right.
Yeah.
But Kamara has 1 catch in the last 2 games,
which is insane.
Before last week, when Drew Brees was a starting quarterback, or Teddy Bridgewater, Alvin Kamara had at least 1 catch in every single one of those games.
I mean, that's why they were. I think if the Saints played someone other than that Denver team last week, they possibly lose.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill looked like garbage.
Honestly, they did not look good last week.
But I think with Alvin Kamara a little banged up, so I think he's been good enough this year to put him on my top 5. I mean, you also have Derrick Henry and stuff, but I think Tannehill's done good enough with A.J. Brown and Corey Davis, where Alvin Kamara literally has won them single-handedly games.
Yeah. I'm not saying, like, I'm not trying to trash on Kamara. Kamara's obviously nasty, but
he definitely has dropped off.
I just don't like I can't stand when people sit there and they're like, oh, Alvin Kamara's the best running back in football.
Dalvin Cook is.
He's having the best season of his career.
Who, Kamara?
Oh, yeah, by far.
Yeah, best seat, but the guy has less than 600 rushing.
The best pure running back to me is Derrick Henry.
He's almost
I think it's Cook.
Well, pure, not like pass cat, like straight power back. Derrick Henry, I think, just you can give Derrick Henry 30 carries and not worry about his knees.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You can give Cook and Henry the ball. You know Cook and Henry are getting the ball, and they still do.
Henry scares me longevity-wise. Not Henry, Cook, obviously.
Cook with the injury history.
Because, like, you see him even, like, you almost have to run with him strictly. You look at Christian McCaffrey in Carolina. When he came back, they ran it with him 28 times compared to Mike Davis's 6 before that, and then he gets injured.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you have these running backs that are legit your whole team, it gets kind of scary because you end up overusing them, and running backs are a dime a dozen in the NFL. So it's just
honestly, and you see how quick the cliff is at running. Like, look at Le'Veon Bell.
100%.
Like, Le'Veon Bell is not even close to the player he was
in Pittsburgh
3 years ago in Pittsburgh. 4 years ago.
Look at Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn McCoy was sick like 3-4 years ago, honestly. Like,
he was still pretty good.
He is, but like...
No, he was.
Yeah. And, I mean, like, look at LeGarrette Blount, a guy that literally led the league in rushing touchdowns, and then the next year he goes to the Eagles, and he's not used, and then he's out of the league.
Yeah.
It's just, if you don't game plan for the right guy, their usage is out of the, like, it's just gone, and it's just not
and the
worth
shelf
it
life
anymore.
for running back is just so minimal
right,
in the NFL.
You shouldn't be paying.
You know what's crazy about Kamara though? He had since Breeze went down, he still gets his attempts at rushing. Like, he's still fine, 13 and 11 past 2 games.
Yeah.
0 receptions, 1 reception.
That's what I'm saying.
And
that's
and
what
he's
I'm
not,
saying. So his volume
his,
at running back hasn't changed, but he's not getting the targets.
Also, his production with running, because with Taysom Hill in, you're not playing.
Taysom produces, so I mean.
Right, but you're also not playing prevent pass like 24. You're majority of the time, you're playing prevent run and QB option. You know what I mean? You're looking for the run. So Kamara's with Drew Brees, you almost have to drop back 5-6 yards because you know he's probably going to play action dump off. I mean, Taysom Hill, what is he going to do? Back it up and the shotgun and just sling it out? You know what I mean? He's not going to do that.
Yeah.
All right, Dave. So you gave us the 5 MVPs, not fantasy, real life MVPs.
Yep.
I'm going to give you the top 5 fantasy football MVPs, non-quarterbacks.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you the player. I'm going to give you little tidbits on everyone. So
Love it.
I'm going to start with Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley's average draft position in like half-point PPR leagues was 28.
Oof.
In the 508 Association, Calvin Ridley was drafted number 47.
Whoa.
Calvin Ridley right now sits at wide receiver 13.
Was he a keeper?
No.
Really? Wasn't he a keeper this year?
Nope. None of these players are keepers.
Okay.
So, actual draft positions. Ridley sits at wide receiver 13. Through 8 weeks of the season, Ridley was wide receiver 1, 2, or 3, depending on whatever week it was. So, I mean, if you drafted Ridley at 28, that's round 3 in a 12-man league. I mean, that's fantasy MVP.
Right.
He's
100%.
He's won you games. He's the only reason you're probably still in this in it.
He's definitely slowed down though the past couple of weeks.
Which is why he's 13th right now. Okay. I'll save my actual MVP for last.
Okay.
Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
Justin Jefferson's average draft position was 78th.
I think I drafted him like 12th round.
You drafted him pick 127.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson currently sits at wide receiver 14. Justin Jefferson, I mean, again, a player who has won you weeks, a player who has turned into a legit starter every single week. And, I mean, I expect that to continue. So I think Jefferson's definitely in the MVP consideration there.
He is awesome to watch celebrate a touchdown.
This player, he's won you a few weeks, but he's been pretty consistent, but he's slowed down as of late.
All right.
Robbie Anderson. I mean, nobody expected Robbie Anderson to be where he was.
No, everyone thought it was going to be DJ.
Which explains the average draft position of 113th.
He was all right with the Jets, but...
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're sitting at ADP 113, that's insane. And if you can currently be... He's wide receiver 18. So, and again, 12-man league, he's a wide receiver 2. Our league, he was drafted pick 152.
Damn. Sleeper.
And then I have 2 players, both rookies.
Okay.
We'll go with Chase Claypool, another wide receiver.
Remember first ever episode, we were talking about the sleepers. Someone said he was going to be a sleeper.
Yeah.
Wasn't you.
It wasn't me.
Wasn't you.
Who was it?
Oh, it was me.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Chase Claypool's ADP was 102. Our league, he was actually undrafted. Shocking. I mean, 18-man league.
Did you pick him up?
Yeah, picked him up week 1. He currently sits at wide receiver 12.
Okay.
I believe he has 11 touchdowns in 12 games.
Yep.
So, I mean, touchdowns, score points, and
he's really not talked about rookie of the year. Crazy.
Yeah, not at all, which is weird.
He doesn't have the yards, I don't think.
Dude, if you're scoring 11 touchdowns in 12 games, that's great. And then
you better know.
Through 12 weeks, the fantasy MVP, non-quarterbacks, it has to be James Robinson.
100%. I mean, before you give your tidbit, I was looking at it today. NFL.com had him ranked. What do you have it?
His ADP was 68th.
Yeah.
In half-point PPR.
His pre-editor's rank, the editors of the NFL.com fantasy page, had him ranked 2,332 for the year on player.
That's insane.
And what? I mean, some idiot out there had just been like, oh, he's probably good. Let me pick him up.
In our league, he was undrafted.
And who picked him up?
You, Dave. And
what number running back is he?
James Robinson currently sits at running back 4.
That's insane.
I would say, so if you were smart enough out there to be like, oh, I mean, Leonard Fournette had a couple decent seasons in Jacksonville. I'm going to go on the flyer, the undrafted rookie, James Robinson, pick him up. This dude is absolutely won you multiple games.
He is balling out.
Yeah, he looks like he's a player who's going to win you a championship.
And I think he's not just a one-year guy in Jacksonville. I think they might have found a little bit of running back for the future. Because
I agree, 100%.
He's a catching back too.
Yeah.
And with Gardner Minshew in there, I mean, it's great.
Mm-hmm. I would say, and it's crazy. I mean, you can go out there and draft a running back in the first round, Sonny Michel, or you can just wait around and pick somebody up after the draft like Phillip Lindsay or James Robinson. So, I mean, that's a cool thing about running backs.
Just got to think about it, man.
Yeah.
Just got to use your brain.
Yeah.
Not many people do that. It's crazy.
It's not.
Also, Shane is banned from trading next year.
Yep.
He said it himself.
Yep, he is. Honestly, Shane has a 1-year ban on trades, so that is coming down from the commish. Gavel.
Boom.
Fuck. I can't win next year then.
Yep. No, I mean, if I can sneak something into somebody's drink next year and be like, hey, Dave, your team's not really looking that great. You might not make playoffs.
I was
Dave,
making
you
playoffs.
think you should trade?
I was definitely making playoffs.
Trade me. Trade me your best 4 players.
Four play?
A guy who has barely played all.
Yeah, I'll give you a guy who's played 4 games this year.
But if we use when Christian McCaffrey, out of the 3 games he played, he was running back number 1. Like Deontay Johnson, like 7 out of something weeks, he was like wide receiver 1.
Deontay Johnson's played games.
He definitely dropped 2 touchdowns today.
He definitely still had 8 catches.
For how many yards?
Skeptical that Fran had Chase Claypool on his MVP list, but not Deontay Johnson.
Weird.
Yeah, Deontay's not winning you a fantasy championship. He's not scoring his touchdowns.
Yeah, touchdowns is a fantasy.
How many yards did he have today, Deontay?
I think 48.
Oh.
58 maybe.
Claypool had like 60, 70, something like that.
You did see that drop.
Yeah, one big drop.
No, there's another one, and I knew you
I
weren't.
didn't see the
That's
second
when
one.
that's when I put the eye emojis in the chat.
I did not see that one. But I mean, eight catches on 13 targets.
What are you
Leads
gonna
the team
do
in
though
targets
when
once
Big
again.
Ben is throwing that ball so hard?
Yeah.
And Juju apparently is the leader of the lot. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Did you hear that? Yeah,
The commentary today was very.
I mean, what happened? Where was Al Michaels?
Yeah, no, he was there.
I mean, where was
Collinsworth?
No, Phil Simms. No, not Phil.
It's usually Al Michaels and Collinsworth on NBC.
No.
The 2 today, only one was a normal one. The other guy was filling in.
No, it wasn't.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Al Michaels filled in.
Yeah, Al Michaels filled in.
But it's usually Collinsworth and
Phil Simms, right? Or
No, Collinsworth and.
I thought it was always Al Michaels.
It is Al.
No, because I was listening to the broadcast and I specifically said, "Hi, I'm here filling in for," and I'm Al Michaels.
Not Kevin Harlan, fucking dumbass. It's Mike Tirico filled in.
Oh.
It's Al Michaels and Chris Collins.
Yeah, Mike Tirico was there. Too.
And Michelle Tafoya. Whoo, she looking good on the sidelines tonight. Anyways,
Dave.
Is that it?
Yeah, but I just want to tell you this real quick. AEW tonight, is it Winter is Coming? Was that tonight?
Was it yesterday?
Are you gonna watch? It's tonight. But are you gonna watch it, or do you want to hear this news?
Give me some news.
The Icon Sting stuns the wrestling universe by crashing AEW.
Shit, I just got the chills, boy. I mean, last time Sting came back, it was kind of dumb, but really.
Yep. So another guy jumps to AEW.
Sunday, we got War Games, folks. Pat McAfee in to steel cage, former NFL punter. Should be fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Guys, we'll be back next week with our guest, Mr. Amano.
The brain Goda Woda genius himself. Former champion, too. So thank God I'll get someone to talk to that knows fantasy football. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to the 508 Power Hour. Make sure to hit that follow button on Twitch and hit subscribe on YouTube at 508 Association.